Hi, thanks for watching. In this video, everything you need to know about Neptune going direct. It's been retrograde since June the 21st, 2019. Today is November the 27th, 2019, and Neptune has actually gone direct. Now then, you can research an awful lot about astrology on YouTube. That's where I've got a lot of my information from, actually. But I'm here every day with an update, finger on the pulse as much as I can. I use the online charts, I use my books, and I use what I've learned about astrology as well. So if you want to keep your finger on the pulse, friends, hit that subscribe button now, okay? Then you won't miss a thing. So, Neptune Direct. Well, so that really means the end of Neptune Retrograde. And Neptune is retrograde for many, many days, something like 160 days each year. This year, as I was saying, it's been from June the 21st through to November the 27th. In 2020, next year, it just shifts 2 days. It's going to be from June the 23rd to November the 29th. So the cycle is always going on. And Neptune takes something like, I think, 164 years to make its transit all the way around the sun, which is why it takes so long in each of the individual star signs. So it's a real tricky one to work out exactly what it's going to mean, because so much of everyday life is going on all the time. But when Neptune was retrograde, the main effect, I think, is on our own thoughts and feelings, not just about ourselves, but about other people, but particularly about how we relate to other people and how they relate to us. So it is very much centered in the human soul of who we are and what we are. Not just what we are, but what we believe we are as well. There's been a lot of kind of gaslighting and self-deception, and you really can gaslight yourself. Other people will try and put blame onto us for things that really are a problem in their life. It's a time when people will actually think, well, you know, that's that person who I've been trying to help or I've been interacting with in some way, who has got in the way of what I'm trying to do. I had a really wacky experience, actually, and this was around kind of July, so Neptune was well and truly into its retrograde before I really noticed that this was going wrong. But someone who's been a friend of mine for a very long time, actually, has got a real thing about machines. And he suddenly got it into his head that there was something wrong with one of my machines, and it had to have a new motor on it, and it had to have a new stand. And I was using that machine all the time, and I knew very well there was nothing wrong with it. But then he kind of bought a new motor for it, and he bought a load of wood to make a stand for it, and he was getting really kind of I couldn't understand where he was coming from. I really couldn't. And as we went through time, I've realised that what it is, he'd inherited a great deal of money, and he's spending this money. He goes out every day and spends fortunes. Pretty soon there'll be none left, I'm sad to say. And he just wanted to spend a load of money on me. Then he could kind of blame me and what he regarded as this problem that I didn't have. Two problems, actually, that I didn't have and don't have, as being, you know, the reason for his problems. That's just one example. That's probably the main thing that happened to me during Neptune Retrograde 2019 in my own life with my personal friends. The other thing that I had was a lot of wacky, crazy dreams. Now, in the line of work I'm in, which is not just astrology, I do a mediumship, spiritualist mediumship as well. And I do kind of tarot readings. Stay tuned, by the way. There'll be some late November tarot readings coming up by star sign very, very soon. But yeah, you get a lot of dreams because you're always kind of asking for inspiration about things like that. And I certainly had some dreams, like I pretty much always do. But I was finding them a bit nightmarish because I could never really understand what they were about. Some of them have started to make sense since then. Some of them haven't. There's one I mentioned a couple of videos ago by One Crazy Night. I was trying to help this disabled guy to kind of get around in life and just, I don't know, to be able to live his life the way he wanted to live it rather than just be kind of stuck at home with people telling him what to do. In the dream, this is. And he always wanted to go into fish shops, and he had a fascination with fishmongers and anything to do with fish. And In this dream, eventually he actually turned out to be a fish, and I still haven't seen where that dream's going yet, but it was kind of quite disturbing for reasons I don't understand as I tell that story right now in broad daylight, or the studio lights at least. I cannot think what on earth was frightening about it, but something was, and it's just that altered perception. Now there was a Mercury retrograde going on at the same time, by the way, but Mercury retrograde is a very different kettle of fish. Mercury is much, much closer to us than Neptune, and so Mercury retrogrades 3 times a year for about 3 weeks, sometimes 4 times a year, sometimes twice, but generally speaking, and certainly in 2019, it was 3 times a year. But Neptune retrograded only once, which it didn't really have time to do it more than once, and it was actually retrograde in its own sign of Pisces as well, and that was crucial to it, and that is one reason why Neptune played into our dreams so much. But anyway, gaslighting, just really being obsessed with a particular thing, or someone else being really obsessed with a particular thing about us and wanting to kind of big something up in a way that it didn't need to be bigged up. That really is Neptune retrograde all over, especially when Neptune is retrograde in Pisces. I think it's something like 2024 before Neptune changes sign again, and then of course it'll be in Aries, and I shudder to think what that's going to bring, because that really is going to make quite a difference to people's beliefs about themselves, but in a different way to the way Neptune retrograde in Pisces has been. Anyway, Neptune is direct now. It's all over, and trying to sort of give you what you need to know about the present time, about where we are today and where we're going to be in the near future with Neptune retrograde. Well, there is a post-shadow to it, like with all retrogrades, and that is actually going to go right through until March, late March of 2020. So it's far from over, really, but the actual retrograde time is, and that is really showing through because people are really starting to get a handle on their own beliefs about themselves, where their dreams have been taking them, that kind of thing. Anyway, we are starting to be able to reconnect with those dreams and reconnect with our visions, which is so important. Can't expect complete clarity, as I was saying, because as Neptune was going back, it did actually show us our relationships with other people in quite a strongly practical light, actually, which you might not think a retrograde would do, but it did. Now that things are direct again, the lights sort of dim a little bit, and it's hard to see really clearly in the fog that comes around us. Things kind of look glamorous and divine, particularly as the heat is off now and things have changed and are so much more positive. But, you know, life is what it is. Whatever happens in astrology is a lot to do with where we are in our own lives. It really is. It's all about out there, particularly Neptune, which is that's the second furthest planet away as far as I know. The only one further away is Pluto. So it really is a long way away, and it can have a very subtle effect indeed. But it's the inner self that really draws these experiences to us, you know, particularly having the dreams. That is, the dreams are always taking place in the human mind. And so that is very close to who we are. And in a sense, why we are. There's one of those Zen questions for you. Why are we? Why are we what we are, who we are? Why are we even watching this video? I don't know, but I'm very glad you are watching it. And hit that subscribe button, by the way, if you haven't already, because there's always more information coming. Bit of a longer video today because I want to go into some depth on this. But anyway, now Neptune is direct. There's a fog around things now that wasn't there previously. Things are a little bit less practical, and that's no bad thing, actually, because reality is nothing much more than a glove puppet, and it's good to pull your hand out of it sometimes. But we still live this life, and we still have to keep it real somehow. So, you know, paying attention to dreams is still an important thing. It would be no bad thing to keep a dream journal, because there's some introspection going on now. If I could choose a tarot card that summed this situation up, it would be the Hermit, because that's the way to find clarity through the fog that comes around us with Neptune direct again. Using our own actual intuition is so important. It really is, because everything else that's going on is kind of circumspect. We think we know people. We think we know what's going on. But, you know, I love quoting Rush songs, and, you know, even joined in bonds of love, we are linked to one another by such slender threads. Nobody really knows exactly what's motivating anybody else, and it's pretty difficult to know what's actually motivating us. But we'll get much more access to what is really motivating us if we listen to our dreams. Every one of us throughout our time of childhood is brought up in a particular way, and experiences get filed away in the subconscious part of the brain to which we don't actually have access. And that is why the higher self is so important. That is why the higher self makes the difference that it makes. It's a really fantastic thing to be able to access that higher self. But it's just not a straightforward, easy thing to do. The dreams that we get are very easily forgotten. It's astonishing how much of dream information is forgotten within about 10 minutes of waking up. And that's why I very often say to people, and I'll say it to you now, friends, keep a pen and paper by the bed and write your dreams down in it. Maybe you already keep a pen and paper by the bed for just that exact reason, but if you're anything like me, sometimes you'll dismiss some of the dreams, and that's a shame, because then you might remember a bit about that dream later on and you've got nothing written down. So keep a dream journal. You know, your dreams are taking you somewhere, and that has been a real big part of Neptune Retrograde, and it's certainly going to be a big part of Neptune going direct again. Thanksgiving is coming up. Mercury is actually going to trine Neptune tomorrow, so we'll see some fix in there. We really will. As I'm actually doing this today, we've got a Sagittarius new moon, so vision questing is a big thing, and it's a good thing to keep a vision journal, vision board I think people call it as well, because that helps to make even more sense of the dreams, as wacky as they might seem, as different as we might feel about ourselves after we've had these dreams. They are all playing into our vision, so that is part of it as well. Well, I'm going to leave it there, friends. Thank you very much for watching. I'll say it again, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video, and take a look at the other videos on my channel. You know, there's loads and loads of them. There's lots of readings. There's a daily astrology post. I'm going to keep those coming every day. Been doing that for quite a while now. YouTube, well, you know, it's always changing. It's always being different. And I think YouTube seems to have been retrograde this year. If a website can go retrograde, YouTube certainly has done. And actually, my dreams, my strange dreams, particularly during the Mercury retrograde, actually, there was one particular day when Mercury transited the Sun, and we'd had a new moon in Pisces just before that as well. And the dreams then were really nuts, but they helped me to understand something about where I'm going with YouTube, which is my thing that I do, you know. So I've no doubt that your thing that you do is going to benefit from taking notice of the dreams. It's just about keeping it real, you know. So have an absolutely real Wednesday, the 27th of November 2019. If you're getting ready for Thanksgiving, if you're making that big journey home, well, good luck to you. Mercury isn't retrograde anymore, so it should go off all right. At least I certainly hope it will. Okay, friends, I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a fantastic day. Peace.